presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Ohio.
It is a beautiful Sunday afternoon here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin at Miller Park. And yes, for the third consecutive day, the roof is open. How will the ball bounce today? It's the rubber game of the three-game series, the Reds and the Brewers, here on Fox Sports Ohio. And hi, and a pleasant good afternoon, everyone, and welcome once again to Reds Baseball. Along with Chris Welsh and Jim Day, I'm Jim Kelch. Well, the Reds have played two one-run games, Chris, so far in this series. And they won the first one, lost last night. Today, a little bit of change in the lineup. Zach Cozart out, and at shortstop today will be Jose Peraza. We should say the very hot-hitting Jose Peraza.
Yeah, really. I mean, the Reds have been waiting for this really all year long for Peraza to come around and show what he showed flashes of back in spring training and even showed flashes of last year. Just goes to show you that a little mechanical adjustment can make a huge difference in a hitter's attitude and his confidence at the plate. His last 13 games, he's batting .400. The same type of thing happened to Eugenio Suarez about a month and a half ago, and they made a little mechanical change. Don Long, the hitting coach, went to him. He's gone to Peraza, and I think now Peraza has finally been able to take what he's learning in batting practice and underneath the stadium on the batting tee and take that stuff into the game.
Now, from a Milwaukee side of things, a guy that had just been a Reds killer this year is Eric Thames.
Well, you know, Thames was very hot against everybody early in the year, but especially the Reds. I mean, the Reds just did not have a formula to try to get this big left-handed hitter out. But he's coming back again after really slumping mightily in the last couple of months, swinging the bat a little bit better. So he's always a guy, especially if you're a right-handed pitcher, that you've got to respect that left-handed thumper in this lineup.
Turn our attention then to the starting pitchers for this game. On the Red side, it's the right-hander Sal Romano. Way back when in April, he made his debut against this club.
Well, old versus new is what you have today. With Romano, you have a guy, I mean, he's got plenty of stuff. His arm is great. He's got one of the fastest fastballs in the entire league. But, you know, it becomes a time for a young pitcher. You have to learn how to back off just a little bit and start shooting that ball towards the corners instead of trying to overpower him. He's still working on a third pitch, which is the changeup. And if he's on his game, he should be down in the zone with a good hard slider, which can be a pretty good strikeout pitch for him.
Well, Romano is the new, and the old/veteran, if you will, is Matt Garza. This guy's been on the DL 3 times this year.
Well, he's been on the DL really since the Brewers signed him to a long-term guaranteed contract. He has not delivered what they had hoped at the very beginning of that contract, coming off an outing in which he gave up 8 runs against his very first team that he ever pitched for, the Minnesota Twins, last time out. Garza, fastball slider, throws a lot of pitches. He's averaging about 5 innings a start. That's what you expect to see out of this right-hander today.
All right, that's what we have today. Sal Romano, Reds, Matt Garza, Milwaukee Brewers. We'll take a break. When we come back, Chris mentioned the name earlier of Eugenio Suarez. Jim Day looks into the great August that he has had when we come back.
Sports Ohio is brought to you by Chevy. Check out their award-winning lineup only at your Tri-State Chevy dealer. And by Skyline Chili. Feeling good? It's Skyline time. Coming through the turnstiles at Miller Park, they're giving away a Bob Uecker 8-ball today. The Uke, one of the most popular figures here in Milwaukee. Reds and Brewers set to do battle. It's been enjoyable to watch the growth at the plate of Eugenio Suarez. Told me coming out of spring training his goal was to put the ball in play more and have better command of the strike zone, and he has done just that. And look at him in August. 314 average, 4 home runs so far, 8 RBIs, and the on-base percentage at 468 because he has really been selective at the plate and drawing walks. And you look at our IGS bringing the energy, and look at the growth. Plate appearances per base on balls, and it is steadily improving. Now, 7.6 at the moment. And I talked to Gino about, yeah, indeed, he's happy about his growth as well.
I feel way better. Yeah, recognize the breaking balls and the dirt, no swing, and try to put the ball in play, hitting hard to a meter, and right now that's what I do, and select pitch in my strike zone to put a good swing, and that's what I do right now.
And not only at the plate, but playing a mean third base as well. Vastly improved. Not only improved at third base, but actually one of the best defenders in the league. Coming up, rubber game of the 3-game set. Brewers and Reds series on the line on this Sunday afternoon on Fox Sports Ohio.
Game here at Miller Park. Talking to some of the local folks here, they said this is the first time this year that the roof has been open for a 3-game series. Reds won the opener here in a high-scoring affair, 11-10. Brewers in 10 last night, pulled it out on a wild pitch, 6-5, and so here this afternoon, we'll see how it goes between these two ball clubs. Let's take a look at the Reds lineup, brought to you by Menards. Hamilton, Winker, and Votto at the top. Duvall, Jeanette, and Suarez the middle 3. Peraza getting the start at shortstop. Barnhart the catcher, Romano the pitcher against this veteran right-hander. 33-year-old Matt Garza.
Matt Garza is a guy who's just a few games under 500 in his major league career. He's actually is a guy who's also under 500, 9 games, or making 11 games under 500 since the Milwaukee Brewers signed him to a long-term deal. Should be a free agent after this year.
92.
Yeah, he really likes his fastball slider combination, occasional changeup, but that's mainly what Garza is all about, is coming after you and then nibbling once he gets ahead.
He gets Hamilton to lead it off on this Sunday afternoon, August the 13th. Going to say Garza, 92 wins, 103 losses in his career. Today marks the 280th start of his major league career, which has spanned, as Chris mentioned, a dozen years. Really had a ball in the strike. Comes into this game at 246. 3 home runs, 30 runs batted in. 1 hit in the series. That came on Friday night with a 9th inning infield hit. Flares this one into left center, and that will fall for a base hit for Billy Hamilton. Boy, he charges around first base in case there is a mistake. Brewers get it back in. Billy's aboard.
Garza gets a pitch up right here. Billy just kind of slaps at it and gets it into left field. That's the whole idea, though, of course, for Billy Hamilton. Just get on the base paths.
Full 3 bases in the game on Friday night. Numbers 46, 47, and 48. Now the batter will be Jesse Winker. Winker out of the lineup in terms of starting last night with a left-hander on the mound for Milwaukee, Brent Suter. He did pinch hit in the game late in the 9th inning and struck out against Corey Knebel on 3 pitches. Jesse comes in at 236 in 21 games at the big league level. A couple of homers, 8 runs batted in. Since his call up in early August, when he was told you're going to get a chance to play on an everyday basis, he's played in a dozen games. Hit 231 with 2 home runs. Both those came in Pittsburgh.
Look for Hamilton really to do the same thing off of Matt Garza that he was able to do off of the first day starter Jimmy Nelson. Nelson, big burly right-hander, did not have a good move to first base. Garza's never been all that great at shutting down the running game. This year, 10 successful stolen bases, 1 throw him out.
Really had a big lead over there. It was not going as Winker sent it a long way foul down the left field line.
Yeah, Garza's best defense in trying to keep Hamilton close is basically varying the amount of time he holds the ball. When he comes to a stretch one time, he'll get it and go. Next time he may hold it for a 2 count. Next time maybe hold it for a 3 count. So you've got to upset the hitter's timing and the runner's timing. But Garza has not been great at doing either of that really over the last couple of years.
Billy looks like he wants to take off down there. Both these pitches he didn't go. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 2 away from hitting the 50 mark in stolen bases for the 4th consecutive year, Billy Hamilton. Winker elevated today to the 2 spot in the lineup with Cozart out. We touched on it in the open. The Peraza is playing short. Really has seen a resurgence here in the last 2 weeks in his offensive abilities. That's the home plate umpire Dave Rackley calling time as Garza was ready to deliver.
Well, with the lineup configuration today, Brian Price has 4 of the first 5 hitters Garza will face will be batting left-handed. Of course, with Billy Hamilton switching to the left side.
Big lead again by Hamilton at first. He's past the cut in the grass as Winker is jammed and he pops it up. Shallow right center, and the last moment VR gave way to Hernan Perez, who made the play. That was going to be a tough catch for VR.
I'll tell you what, it would have been a good play by the Brewers had they had the foresight to think about it, is to come in there and actually drop the ball and get the force out at second base right here. Billy Hamilton's going nowhere. He's not even halfway there. But you could potentially drop that ball, fire at the second base, and have Matt or have Jesse Winker running at first instead of Hamilton. That would be a plus.
You make a good point there, because that is not an infield fly rule, simply one runner on base. And you get Hamilton, as you say, off the bases.
Huge lead for Hamilton.
You've seen that done before, I take it.
Well, yeah, and you take the risk, though, that, you know, you drop the ball and then you bobble it, and a guy like Hamilton's so fast that now he races to second base, beats the throw, and you've got 2 guys on and nobody out. That's the downside. But, you know, there are ways to get Hamilton off the base paths, and that would be a priority if I'm running that ball club.
There goes Billy as Votto shoots this ball into the left field corner. That will be run down out there by Ryan Braun. And now Hamilton has to hustle back to first base. Votto gave that thing a good ride to the wall, but caught out there. Here's the Brewers' defensive setup this afternoon, brought to you by Ford. Braun, who just made that catch, is on and left. Hernan Perez is in center today, Santana in right. Neil Walker, the newest member of this Brewer club, at third. Sogard at short, VR and Thames on the right side. Battery today is Pena catching, Garza pitching, and there is Neil Walker, the Pittsburgh native, longtime Pirate. This year is in his second year as a member of the Mets. He comes over here with cash for a player to be named later. Third base is not his normal / regular position. Hamilton going, and an easy steal of second, number 49.
Well, an easy steal of second, despite an excellent throw by Manny Pena behind the plate. I mean, Pena gets that ball out of the dirt and throws it right down there on the money, and it's still not even close.
Really got a great lead and a great jump, and easily gets the steal. Just to finish the thought on Neil Walker, he's a second baseman, but he's playing third today. Remember last night, Travis Shaw fouled those 2 balls off his right ankle and right knee within pitches of one another. So he gets the day off today. Neil Walker has played a handful of games at third in his career, and he's over there this afternoon in his Brewers debut. Here's Duvall. There are his numbers: 26 home runs, 79 runs batted in. On pace to surpass the numbers that he put up a year ago, which for him were all-star numbers. 33 home runs, 103 RBIs last season. Now he finds himself in the hole 1 and 2. Red scored in the first inning here on Friday in a home run by Cozart. Scored in the first inning last night in a 2-run homer by this man, Duvall. Trying to score in the first inning here this afternoon. That's going to be a foul ball and playable for Thames to retire the side. So Hamilton's leadoff hit and subsequent steal go for naught in the Reds' first. Not put a run on the board in the first inning. Brewers come up here in the bottom of number 1. Let's take a look at their lineup, brought to you by Menards. Jonathan VR leading it off will play second base, then Eric Thames, then Ryan Braun. Neil Walker inserted into the cleanup spot in his first game as a Brewer. Domingo Santana and Manny Pena. Eric Sogard getting the start at shortstop today, hitting 7th. Hernan Perez is in center. Matt Garza the pitcher against the right-hander Sal Romano.
Now the young right-hander, very hard throwing right-hander, who's probably trying to temper his approach a little bit, knowing full well that backing off is a little bit better way of having better command, but it's so hard to do that, to take it from the bullpen to the big league mound when you got a big league hitter standing in there.
Of course, it was way back on the 16th of April that this right-hander Sal Romano made his big league debut in Cincinnati against Milwaukee, a stint that ended up lasting only 3 innings and 82 pitches in a game that the Brewers won 4-2. 2 balls and a strike to VR. .222 average with 9 home runs. He's had a good series. 4 hits in 10 at bats plus a home run. He homered in the 9th inning on Friday night.
Good sign right there. That was a changeup by Sal Romano at 88 miles an hour. He's only averaged about 5% changeups. So it's good to see him using that in the first inning. So you go from 88 to 96 and you get the batter a little bit off speed-wise.
That has been an edict from Brian Price, the manager of the Reds, who is a pitching guy, longtime major league pitching coach, that not only Romano but everybody coming up through the system must learn the changeup. Didn't miss by much. Full count.
Well, as I said, Romano throws about 5% changeups, and you see that in August, though, that August 13th game or 3rd game, August 3rd game, he threw 16 of them. So typically in a game for Romano, if he throws 100 pitches, 5 or 6 of those are going to be changeups. Maybe today, with the lefties that they have in their lineup, that pitch becomes more and more important.
Romano has gone 6 innings in each of his last 2 starts. Last time out Tuesday against the Padres, allowed 5 runs, 9 hits. 2 starts ago at Pittsburgh, 4 runs, 8 hits in 6. Reds lost both of those games.
You know, the one thing that Sal is going to eventually learn is that most right-handers aren't going to pick a runner off first base. So if you throw over, make sure you throw it to the first baseman, not down the right field line.
VR not getting nearly the big lead that Hamilton got down there as Romano misses the Thames for ball 1. Eric at 248, 27 home runs, 51 runs batted in. The tale of him versus the Reds this year is an incredible one. 364 average, but with 10 home runs and 17 runs batted in. Those 10 home runs by Thames mark the most home runs against an opponent in Brewers franchise history, snapping a tie with George Scott, who had hit 9 against Detroit back in 1975. Thames has now hit 10 against the Reds this year. You probably remember George Boomer Scott.
Sure do.
What he's done in this series now. This was Friday night against Blake Wood. It was a 3-run shot in the 6th inning. Last night, Thames home run in the 6th inning tied the game.
Both of those pretty impressive home runs, because one went to dead central and then the other opposite field. So he just goes to show you that he's got power. There's no safe part of the ballpark to pitch to with Eric Thames. You've got to pitch to a part of the zone.
That's an incredible split right there versus the Reds versus everyone else. 3-1. That's a problem with a lot of these Reds pitchers have been getting the ball over the plate. These young pitchers, Stevenson and Romano, their walks are way too high. 19 walks, 33 2/3 for Romano coming into this game.
Well, you know, I think I always like to say that there's a difference between control and command. Control is the ability to throw the ball in the strike zone somewhere, 17 inches across, about 3 feet high. Command is being able to throw the ball inside that zone to certain spots. So if you're walking guys, you don't have control. If you're getting hit around a lot, your command is off.
VR 21 steals. That's tops on this Milwaukee club, and 4th in the National League from a player who won the stolen base title a year ago. That strike 3 call. There's some good command within the zone, right over the inside part of the plate, and Thames is rung up for out number 1.
Well, a good pitch at the right time for Sal Romano right there. Comes right inside with a backdoor fastball, or front door fastball is what we like to call it. It looks like it's coming off the plate at the last second, clips the inside corner. He'd like to run that one off about 20,000 times.
Thames knew it. No argument out of him. He heads back to the dugout. And here now is Ryan Braun. Braun was at the plate when Adelman uncorked a wild pitch in the bottom of the 10th inning last night that allowed Eric Sogard to slide headfirst safely across the plate for the game winner in the 6-5 Milwaukee victory. When the Reds came out, Brian Price challenged the call. The umpires, it wasn't a challenge, actually, it was a request of the umpires to take a look at it. They said no. Sogard was easily safe. So the game ended with Milwaukee coming from behind, trailing at 1.5 to 3. That was in the 5th inning to pull out the 6-5 win. Braun at .292 with 13 home runs. He had a hit last night, a home run. It came in the 5th inning. Walk-off win last night via a wild pitch. The second time that Craig Counsell's club has had that happen to them this year. 2 by walk-off wild pitch, 1 by Thames home run, 3 walk-off wins this season. There's the big man, Eric Thames. He's not getting the day off today. Not against the Reds. Braun, we mentioned, had a home run last night. He is the all-time franchise leader in Brewers history with 298 of them. And the home run he hit last night also was the 40th he has hit against the Reds in his career. The most homers versus the Reds by any player in baseball since Braun broke in back in 2007. Look at that, 40 homers by Braun. Next best, Andrew McCutchen with 28. Anthony Rizzo on that list. Reds will see him beginning tomorrow night at Wrigley. There goes VR. There's a ball ripped by Braun to left field, over the head of the left fielder Duvall. There comes the VR around third, racing home. The throw not in time. Head first slide by VR. Gets in just ahead of the throw from the shortstop Peraza on the relay from Duvall. The Brewers have taken a 1-0 lead.
The Reds have to be happy with their relay defense because they do it about as well as anybody out here. Duvall gets the ball caromed off the wall, and the quick throw by Peraza. I mean, he was like turning a double play right there, but it's the speed of Jonathan VR just beats the play overall.
Braun's double is 18th. Close, but clearly safe is VR at the plate. Milwaukee jumps in front 1-0. Braun gets his 37th RBI, and he has now hit in 8 consecutive games.
That's a really good play. I mean, from everybody's standpoint, VR running, the way he cut around third base, got to home very quickly, the way the Reds were able to execute the defense. Big league play all the way around.
Here is now the Milwaukee debut of Neil Walker, 31 years old. We mentioned out of Pittsburgh, long time in his career with the Pirates before being traded prior to the 2016 season to the Mets. His numbers this year, 264 with 10 home runs. He spent 6 weeks on the disabled list this year from the middle of June until the end of July with a left hamstring injury. Well, he is just one of many pieces that the Mets are sending out. 393 with runners in scoring position this year for Neil Walker, on a team, Milwaukee, that came into this series near the bottom of the National League in RZIP average. Nice block by Barnhart. Walker comes into this game with 6 hits in his last 2 games. He did not play yesterday for the Mets in Philadelphia. Last 2 games he was 6 for 9. And he gets a base hit in his first AB as a Brewer. Here comes Braun. Ball bobbled by Winker. There goes Walker to second. He is in there. I think they'll give Walker an RBI on that because Braun looked like he was headed toward the plate before Winker bobbled that ball. The error will send Walker down to second base. And that snaps a streak of 9 straight games for the Reds without making an error.
Well, he finds a hole with a sharply hit ground ball, does Neil Walker, and Winker's so much thinking about throwing that runner out, he just forgets to put his glove down all the way to the ground. Ball goes underneath the tip of his fingers. And Walker welcomes himself to Wisconsin.
Well, you just got to believe that when a guy gets traded, he really wants to be able to contribute right away. Jay Bruce has done that with Cleveland. At least in his first AB, Walker does it here. Domingo Santana. Interesting, they're not going to give Walker a run batted in on that. I don't know if we can catch it on replay as to whether Braun was headed home or not before the bobble. Either way, the Brewers have taken a 2-0 lead.
Oh, no, Cedar said yes, no, yes, no, yes.
Okay. So that's a good call right there. No run batted in. E9 on Winker. Again, that snaps a streak of 9 straight games, their longest stretch of the year for the Reds, without committing an error.
Ed Cedar down there at third base looked like the traffic cop outside the stadium trying to negotiate the bus line. Long buses, a long line of buses coming in and out of the stadium, and it takes forever to get in there. And I'm wondering if maybe the traffic cop and Ed Cedar may have switched uniforms.
You know, they do tailgating up here like no place else, and they don't just keep it to football games. I mean, it's everything. They come out here and tailgate before these Milwaukee Brewer games out in the parking lot. Bus loads come in, as you were talking about. Big crowd today. This is easily the biggest of the 3, although they've had in excess of 34,000 in each of the first 2 games of this series. That's a strikeout of Domingo Santana. Second out. Take a look at the Reds' defensive setup, brought to you by Ford. They line up like this. Duvall, Hamilton, Winker across the outfield. Suarez, Peraza, Jeanette, Votto infield. Romano and Barnhart make up the battery. Now, one of the big things that could be as to why they have the big crowd today is that they are giving away Euchre 8 balls. You remember the old 8 balls? If you're
Sure do, yeah.
OG, an old guy, you may remember those. You shake the ball, you ask it a question, you shake the ball, and an answer pops up in the little window. And they're giving away Euchre 8 balls today. There's Mr. Belvedere.
And of course, the answers to those are all of his famous sayings, like just a bit outside, get out of here, and a couple of others.
Toward right field. Winker chasing it into the corner. He cannot get it. It's a fair ball. That'll get a run home. Walker. Pena in the second with a double. And it's 3-0 in favor of the Brewers. 19th two-base hit of the year for Pena.
Pena had a big night offensively the other night when he hit a home run, was on base about 3 times. This time he's not sure if that ball is going to stay fair or not. Neither is Winker, who has to go a long, long way. And it bounces once in fair territory and then out of the ballpark.
Milwaukee.
Jenkins with a quick trip to the mound. That one didn't take long for Jenkins.
Brewers coming out smoking here in the first inning against Sal Romano.
Never a good thing when your pitching coach gets exercise in the first inning.
Picked up 3 hits, a walk, had an error behind him. Here's Eric Sogard getting the nod at shortstop today. Orlando Arcia the day off. Sogard at 287 with 3 home runs. Normally a second baseman, but getting this started short today. Romano has fallen behind 3-0, and Tucker Barnhart likes to counsel these young pitchers, goes to the mound. Tucker had to see action in the game last night when Devin Mesoraco was thrown out. He was in the dugout when the Reds were batting. Reds had 2 plays, one with Kivlahan at the plate and another with Duvall up there. They thought they had been hit by a pitch, but it was called a foul ball and a strike. He appealed both, lost both. Bench was hot, everybody hollering over there. Mesoraco said after the game, I must have been hollering loudest because he was ejected. We talked about it on the post game. Only his 2nd career ejection, and both of them have come with Chad Fairchild behind the plate. First one back in 2012 at Great American, and now this one here last night. Although technically it was the crew chief, Larry Vanover, who threw Mesoraco out. There's Chad Fairchild umpiring a 3rd today. Mesoraco said after the game, there's Larry Vanover. He said after the game, I deserve to be thrown out, but everybody was hot about the calls that did not go the Reds' way. Toward the middle, that's where Peraza is playing to retire the side. But a big first for Milwaukee. They put 3 up against Sal Romano. Every device. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live. Plus, get a free subscription to At Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions do apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. Reds have the work cut out for them here. Trailing 3-0 after 1. Back to work goes Matt Garza. Gave up a hit to Hamilton to start the game, then retired the next 3. Scooter Gennett leads it off. Taking all the way against his former teammate. Ball 1. Scooter at .293, 19 home runs, 66 runs batted in. Had a hit last night. It came in the 4th inning. He now has a 6-game hitting streak. That's 1 shy of his best this year. Breaks his bat, cues it toward third. Walker barehand pick and throw, and out at first base. Well, the ball went left. The bat, which shattered, went right. Walker made a nice barehand pick and throw to retire Scooter.
Good observation. You hardly ever see this particular combination where the ball goes to the left from a left-handed hitter and the bat head goes right. Usually the ball will go down to first baseline. The bat will get shattered and go to third baseman.
Good pick down there by Thames on that throw from Walker to retire Scooter Gennett. Here's Eugenio Suarez. Jim Day touched on him just before the game started about how well he has been hitting as of late. Suarez up to .262 with 20 home runs, 59 runs batted in. Suarez on the month of August hitting .314. Since the break at .286, so he's doing a nice job.
He really looks comfortable in the batter's box right now. You can kind of just sense how he feels by watching him set up. You know, we talked about the mechanics of the change he made, which is basically lowering the bat and having it more flat right here behind him as he sets up.
As opposed to way high.
Well, it was way high earlier, and it made it very difficult for him to hit the high fastball. Because when you hold the bat straight up and down and then try to get it leveled out to hit a high fastball, oftentimes you end up looping the bat a little bit or carving it, is what some hitting coaches will say.
Look at this effort down here on this foul ball by the ball boy down the left field line. Missed the ball, but A+ on effort. Cooled on that breaking ball, and Suarez a strikeout victim.
Pretty good slider right there by Garza. He's got a good one, and that is his favorite off-speed pitch without a doubt. You know, when you coach hitters, you know, like Don Long does and Tony Jaramillo, you have so many different hitters and different things that you have to do for each one of them. You've got to be an individual coach for, you know, almost 20 different guys, because some pitchers like some instruction too. And Peraza has a little different thing than Suarez. Suarez was all about how he started with his hands and his bat. For Jose Peraza, what they've been trying to fix is get his shoulder and his hips connected and going in the right direction. His hips would go one way, which is down the third baseline, and his shoulders would go another, and then he would lean out over the plate and lose all of his power. So they've been working diligently under the stadium, you know, under the tees, soft toss, and so on, trying to kind of get his body in sync to make sure that his hips and shoulder are all together.
We see him there doing a little rocking. That's one of the things, I guess, that they have instituted with him. Hits that ball hard, right on the line and right at Eric Sogard. The Reds go in order in the second.
last night, even though he pitched successfully, the last pitch of his warm-ups, he felt something in his lat area. Got through the inning, but after the game, came up lame. He's been sent back to Cincinnati with a lat problem on the 10-day DL. And Robert Stevenson reinstated from the disabled list. And Robert Stevenson was supposed to throw at least one more bullpen and then come back to the rotation. But it was a need factor that they needed him today. He was already here with the day game, so it's tough to get someone from the minor leagues here. So Stevenson will be the long man today. And Brian Price still said at some point he will return to the rotation, but he's back on the roster sooner than expected.
Yeah, remember, it was Adelman who had been taken out. Stevenson went in, and then when Stevenson was shelved on the DL, albeit a short stint, Adelman went back into the rotation.
Well, you just wonder, though, when will the injuries begin to slow down? Not be eliminated. They'll never be eliminated, but it's been one after another of these Reds pitchers going on the DL this year. It's just bad luck year.
Hernan Perez and a ground ball to the shortstop. Peraza makes the play, and a good start to the bottom of the second for Sal Romano. Here's the pitcher, Matt Garza. Not known as much of a hitter in terms of pitchers and how they hit. 3 for 27 this year, under 100 in his career at .083. This guy's been in the big leagues with Tampa Bay. Before that, Minnesota. That's the team that drafted him #1 way back in 2005. Breaks his bat, and Votto feeds Romano for out #2. Speaking of injuries, Chris, last night's Milwaukee starter Brent Suter apparently goes on the DL with a left rotator cuff strain today.
I figured there was something up with Suter last night because control was his calling card. I think he walked 4 batters last night.
He walked 4, and 3 of those in the first inning, yeah. Remember. VR led off the Brewers first with a walk, later scored on the double by Braun, and he bats here with 2 out in the second. Are having a little resurgence in the month of August. This has not been a good year for him at the plate at all after hitting in the 280s last year. It's close to 300 in the month of August. Still at the time being in their leadoff spot and playing second base. It'll be interesting when Shaw, and it could be as early as tomorrow. They have Pittsburgh coming in. When Shaw is ready to play again, will VR play or will Walker play? It figures that Walker would get the shot at second base.
We'll be bringing you our Miller Time moment, as always brought to you by Miller Lite. Tucker Barnhart leads off this half for the Reds, and power stroke this week, 2 home runs for Tucker, and he attributes some of that to using a heavier bat. He told me he switched to a half-inch longer bat and a half-inch heavier bat. So swinging a bigger bat, and it's brought more power. We'll see if it lasts.
Thank you, Jim. Tucker homered on Tuesday against the Padres, his 4th of the year. It was a big 3-run shot in the bottom of the 7th inning, although the Reds at the time had trailed 7-0, and then he homered here on Friday night, solo in the 7th. Came against Carlos Torres. And it turned out really to be the difference in the game. It gave the Reds at the time an 11-9 lead. They get the home run by VR in the 9th. Reds go on to win it. That's going to fall on a base hit for Barnhart. And a good start for the Reds here in inning number 3. Romano, the owner of 3 sacrifice bunts this year. Walker coming in from third. Romano gets himself out of the way, still bunts that ball fair, and Thames will give it to VR, and that's a sacrifice bunt for Romano. Give him sacrifice bunt number 4. We talked a lot about Reds pitchers in general not being able to get the bunt down, but Romano has been pretty good at it. He moves Barnhart along and is in scoring position with 1 out. It'll be Billy Hamilton. Led off the game with a single in the left center, stole second, but was stranded there. Kelly got out of the gate very quickly after the All-Star break, but has gone a little bit south since then, hitting .259 now since the break. Still a little bit above his overall season average. Sogard and Pena trying to work together to keep Barnhart close out at second. Garza a slow worker generally speaking, but when runners get on, he slows to a veritable crawl. 2-1 now to Hamilton. Behind the rubber he goes, now to the rosin bag. Polar opposite of what we saw earlier in the game yesterday from Brent Suter, who gets it and fires it.
Well, that's always been one of the things about Matt Garza that kind of frustrates, I think, the managers and the guys that play with him, is that he just has just kind of a pace to him. They call it Garza time.
Yeah, defenders don't like to play behind Garza time. Not necessarily just him, but I mean anybody who works very methodically and slowly. Foul ball.
You know, I'm really all for Billy Hamilton bunting, but I'm not so sure with a runner at second base and one out that now's the time to do that. I believe that, you know, you want to take a hack at it so that, you know, you get a base hit right here and the Reds to score a run. And I think if Billy does decide to bunt off of Garza today, probably, I know that they want to try to exploit the new third baseman down there, Neil Walker. Normally a second baseman, you've been through all that. I say take a shot at a base hit that'll drive a run in when you have a runner in scoring position.
Well, if there is a silver lining to falling behind early in the game, which has happened a decent amount to the Reds this year, and has happened today 3-0, is that you do have a lot of innings worth of at bats to try to get back, and you're hitting against a guy, Matt Garza, who's only had 6 quality starts in 17 starts this year, making his 3rd start back from his 3rd trip on the disabled list this year. And he's been out. Go ahead, Chris.
And if you want to break that down, you know, you have 17 starts. 6 of those are quality starts. Now, if you remind yourself, a quality start is 6 innings and 3 runs or less. So that means 11 times he has taken the mound and not been able to give his team 6 innings and 3 runs or less.
He started the season on the disabled list with a groin injury. Spent 10 days, 11 days in the middle of June with a chest injury. And most recently at the end of July went on the DL with a light right leg injury. So 3 times he's been on the DL. His 2 starts since he's come back. He went 5 2/3, allowed 1 run and a victory here against the Cardinals. And most recently last Tuesday at Minnesota, allowed 8 runs, 8 hits in 3 1/3 and an 11-4 loss to the Twins. This is inside for ball 4, and so Hamilton on for the 2nd time. Winker will come to the plate representing the tying run. Fly to center his first time. He's 2 for 7 in this series. He's had some action come his way out in right field so far in this game. One was an error. And the ball he made a dive at in the corner. Double play ball. There's 1. There's 2. That's an inning ending. 4-6-3. Double play hit into by Winker. Ball's greatest legends take it to the court in Los Angeles. Rashard Lewis, Steven Jackson, Mike Bibby, Al Harrington keep the action going in a 3-on-3 battle for the championship. The Big Three is changing the game tomorrow night at 8 Eastern on Fox Sports 1. Big crowd on this Sunday afternoon here at Miller Park. They so far are enjoying the action. A 3-0 Milwaukee lead. Eric Thames leads it off against Sal Romano. Sal had a rough first, then a 1-2-3 second. Thames struck out his first time. Against the shift to Jeanette, backing up, gets to it and makes the play. Ball had a lot of hop to it. He took 2 or 3 steps back onto the outfield grass. Throws Thames out. So here comes Braun. Mentioned is the all-time franchise leader in home runs. He ranks second in franchise history in runs batted in, second in extra base hits, third in runs scored. Cracks this one to right center field. It's going to go off the wall on the fly. Billy will get it back in, and into second with a double. The second of this game is Ryan Braun, his 19th of the year.
Well, he hit a fastball his first time up. Braun did a laser shot to left field. This one looked like an off-speed pitch up. And Braun is just so quick. Great hand-eye coordination. Puts the barrel of the bat on the ball. But how fast does Billy Hamilton get the ball back in? I'll tell you, this Reds outfield has done a tremendous job getting the ball back into the outfield, holding runners to singles instead of doubles, and making doubles tough to come by.
The Brewers have an opportunity here. Now Braun takes off. Romano steps off, and they get him at third base. Thought he could catch Romano sleeping. Sal kept his cool about him. Stepped off, fired to Suarez. The caught stealing goes 1-5 of Braun. It's a break.
Now Sal will take that any day of the week right there. You see that at maybe the bottom of your screen, you see Tucker Barnhart jumping up and waving to him. The big worry there is that the pitcher will balk, but he did the right thing. Step off first, become an infielder, then make a nice throw to third base.
So he deals now with Neil Walker. Base hit, scored a run back in the first in his first big league at bat with his Brewers club. Mentioned he's a resident of Pittsburgh, native of Pittsburgh. Graduated from Richland High School in Pennsylvania. His dad, Tom, was a pitcher in the major leagues with, among other teams, Montreal, Detroit, the Cardinals, and in the late 70s, the old California Angels. He's not wearing it here. Wearing number 15 here, but long time wore the number 20 as he singles for the second time in this game in honor of his father. Walker 2 for 2. Here comes Domingo Santana. Struck out his first time. Santana now is 2 for 8 in this series. Starts the game at 274, but things have been slow going for him since the All-Star break, hitting only 224 with 3 of his 18 home runs since that time. Jammed him. Shallow right to Jeanette to retire the side. 2 hits to 1 left. Through 3.
Baseball break brought to you by T-Mobile. First West Point graduate to play in the major leagues, Chris Rowley, last night with Toronto, and a good outing as well. Congrats to him. Aaron Judge, 29 straight games with a strikeout, second longest by a position player. Adam Dunn, 32 punch-outs back in 2012.
It's one of those streaks you'd rather steer clear of course. 29 straight games with a strikeout. Aaron Judge. Dubious list that you're on. 3 inning totals in this game. 3 runs, 5 hits, no errors, Milwaukee. No runs, 2 hits, and an error for the Reds. Garza gets Votto to get things started. Well, he used that extra inning last night to keep his hitting streak going. He singled in the 10th after going 0 for 2 with a couple of walks earlier in the game. Ties his career high with a 17-gamer. He did it last year. Hitting .462 during the hitting streak. Now the Brewers shift with a 3-ball, 1-strike count. Move Neil Walker over to the right side of the infield. Sogard, cheating a little bit up the middle, is the only Brewers infielder on the left side. Ball 4. Votto draws the walk. Jim's talking about some of the big things that happened in baseball yesterday. The big story was this: Bryce Harper on a wet field, hustling down to first. That is ugly to look at. Holding his left knee. Immediately you think of an ACL injury. Remember, that's what happened. Was that Cozart a couple of years ago? Maybe a badly sprained ankle. As it turned out, it's a bad bone bruise. No structural damage to the left knee. On the disabled list, out indefinitely, although Mike Rizzo, the GM of the Nationals, thinks that Harper will play again this regular season. That ball into the corner, and that is a 2-run homer the opposite way by Adam Duvall. 27th of the year for Duvall. Reds right back in this thing now, trailing 3-2. I mean to tell you, that thing was right in the corner, down the right field line by Duvall.
You know, it's almost like Adam Duvall was looking for something away. And Garza likes to pitch guys away. He tried to pitch Joey Votto away, walked him, ends up going the other way with Duvall right there, who goes way out. I shouldn't say way out, but out far enough down the right field line to give the Reds a couple of runs. But don't forget about the Votto walk.
Joey also on a stretch, and we've talked about it the first 2 games of this series, where he has reached base at least 2 times in 17 consecutive games. The only person who's done it more than that is Barry Bonds. Did it in 20 straight games.
It sure gives an opportunity to the guys behind him in the order to have a high RBI total.
Scooter rips this one to right, and is it caught? It is, according to Alfonso Marquez, the first base umpire. Brian Price arm up, saying, hang on now, we're going to take a look at this.
And Scooter does the right thing because he hustled all the way to second base. They're going to call him in now as they take a look at the tape and realize that it was a catch. Santana's not on the short list to win a Gold Glove out there in right field, but he makes a nice grab right here.
Here's Suarez with 2 in and 1 out here in the top of the 4th. Struck out his first time. So Duvall, 3 hits in this series, 2 of them home runs. Hit the home run last night in the first inning. Another 2-run shot here today, putting his RBI total over 80, now at 81. Second on the team to Votto's 83. Talk about a sophomore slump sometimes, but he has had no sophomore slump. Adam Duvall has followed up a good year last year with a very good year again this year. Run is the 14th given up by Garza to that man, Adam Duvall. Garza's in the final year. Chris talked about it earlier, of a 4-year, $50 million deal he signed with Milwaukee prior to the start of the 2014 season. Be a free agent next year as a 34-year-old.
And that'll probably make everybody happy, Garza and the Brewers, given the fact that the worst 2 seasons of Garza's career have come in the last 2 years for the Brewers, although he's pitched much better so far this year. That earned run average was in the mid-3s until his last start, when he gave up those 8 runs in his start against the Twins.
loses Suarez, his second walk, and the Reds now have the tying run on with one out here in the fourth. Garza back in his mid-20s. Won 15 games with Tampa Bay. Followed that up with a 10-win season for the Cubs and an ERA of 3.3. Cubs eventually traded him to Texas. He signed the deal with Milwaukee and has not won double-digit games here in the years that he has been here. In fact, in this his fourth year, he's only won 25 games.
You know, we began to talk about the mechanics of hitting as regards to Jose Peraza and what Don Long has been working on, trying to keep him to get that hip in there. One way to do that is to try to get his timing with his front leg a little bit. And what they're trying to do is basically emulate, in a way, what Nolan Arenado has done. You see him here. You're going to see him kind of lift this leg, and just as a way to kind of stay back a little bit and stay in line. And it looks like a very small move. Here's Nolan Arenado and what he has done, and the Reds have looked around. He kind of does a little toe tap where he starts out wide, brings his front foot back in, touches the ground, and goes forward. Peraza does it a little bit, not quite as pronounced as Arenado, but just enough to make sure that he's aware of keeping that weight on your backside, on that back leg, until you drive through the ball. So together, we'll put them together and take a look and compare Arenado on your left, Jose Peraza. And we're not comparing Jose Peraza and Nolan Arenado yet. And we may never offensively, but you're certainly, you know, you take the good things away from the good players. And you say, what does this guy do that I could adapt that maybe would help me? And I think that's what the batting coaches have done for the Reds with Don Long and Jaramillo, and they approach Jose Peraza with something like that, and he's all ears trying to get better. I think it's a good move.
Well, we do know this about Peraza. Coming into today, his last 13 games, he's hitting 400. So whether it's that specific thing that's helping him, or mentally combined, whatever it is, something's working.
Or maybe a little extra motivation ever since they told him that he wasn't going to be an everyday player.
That's in the mix, I'm sure, as well. He joined Suarez on the bases, so now the Reds have the tying run at second, the go-ahead run at first. Tucker Barnhart, who had a base hit in the third, and is now hitting 4 consecutive games in which he has had an at-bat. That's here with a chance. Tucker 276 with runners in scoring position. Peraza at first. There in the middle of the screen, you see Suarez. Sounds good off the bat, but is a foul ball down the right field line by Barnhart.
Boy, got a good pitch to hit there. Did Tucker, just a hair out in front of it.
Tucker regroups at the plate. Garza does the same on the mound. He's thrown 58 pitches thus far as he works here in the 4th inning. Two-run homer. Adam Duvall earlier in this frame has made it a 1-run game at 3-2. Back this way. Fan down below caught that without the benefit of a glove. Garza in this game now at 60 in terms of pitches. He really doesn't go near the 100 mark very often. Since he's been back in the 2 starts, he's been in the mid-80s in terms of his pitch count. In fact, he's gone over 100 only. Well, he hasn't gone over 100 this year. Only one time has he thrown triple digits in pitches. He threw exactly 100 against Baltimore in a victory on the 5th of July. That's the most he has thrown. Greg Counsell will need to get his bullpen busier sooner than he would want. So it appears. Barnhart fooled on that breaking ball, down and in. Second strikeout by Garza.
Now, the one thing you do have to say about Garza's slider, when he stays on top of it, it's got nice depth. It really does go down, and that's why he gets a strikeout.
So he'll deal now with the pitcher, Sal Romano. 2-out non-bunting situation here. Maybe he can come up with his first major league hit. He's 0 for 8 at the plate. There's an elbow guard, although not the big contraption that we see on Eric Thames. It's a right-handed pitcher, obviously, batting left-handed. Neil Walker to retire the side, but the Reds get on the board. Adam Duvall, number 27, opposite field into the right field corner. 1-run game. Look at this afternoon's storylines brought to you by Elk and Elk. How about the highest home runs per game versus a single opponent in a season? Right at the top, the Milwaukee Brewers, 2.7 homers per game against the Reds this year. They've hit 32 in 12 games coming into today. No homers for them today. They top Oakland by 0.1%. They have 2.6. See if we can make that number go down a little bit today. Hold the Brewers without a long ball. Manny Pena leads it off. First pitch swinging to left. Just like that, Romano has 1 out on 1 pitch. Now 57 pitches through 3.
He really shouldn't be thinking about his pitch count. I doubt that he really is. I mean, he's a big, strong kid, and he can probably go a lot longer than the Reds would ever even think about leaving him in a game. But he had a 1-2-3 second inning, and he could certainly use a quick one here in the 4th.
And he benefited from Braun trying to steal 3rd after he doubled in the 3rd inning. So he had a 4-batter 3rd inning. Works here to Eric Sogard. Big guy threw 34 pitches in the 1st when he gave up the 3 runs, but has been economical since. 11 in the 2nd, 12 in the 3rd.
I really like the fact that he's using the changeup more and more. Now, Barnhart's the one calling it, but you have to be able to execute it in order for the catcher to continue to use it.
Fair ball by the diving Votto into the right field corner. Going to have to go get it is Winker. That's going to allow Sogard to end up at 3rd with a triple. First triple of the year for the man playing shortstop today for the Brewers. He's able to get 3rd because that ball died in the corner, did not bounce off the wall and come back to Winker, who had to go in and get it.
Right past Joey Votto, who dives in vain as this ball kind of rattles around down there. At first I thought it was only going to be a double, but it hit the bottom and just kind of died right there. A good relay by Tucker, or by Scooter Gennett, makes it close down there, but a 1-out triple.
It's another one of those beautiful plays that you talked about earlier, Chris. And even though the Reds didn't get an out, they didn't get an out at the plate earlier. They don't get an out there, but they execute that very well.
It's just part of this really overall very good Reds defense. And oftentimes you just overlook. When you lose more games than you win, you look for bad things, but I think the defense on this team has been exceptional.
Infield in now with Perez at the plate. Hernan grounded out to the shortstop his first time. Ideally what the Reds want here is a strikeout. Ground ball right at an infielder, a pop-up. Hamilton pretty shallow out there in center. That's par for the course for him.
Nice grab, Billy.
How about Billy Hatcher down there? He says, what, you expect me not to make that play? Squeeze and a bunt, and a run will score, and an out at first base. Hernan Perez not only got the bunt down and gets the run home, but saves himself being hit by that one, riding up and in on it.
I've always said it's easier to bunt a ball when your face is close to the point of impact with the bat. And it can't get a whole lot closer than it does right there. It looked like it was self-defense. Perez puts the ball in play.
That's not the safety squeeze. That's the suicide squeeze right there with a runner from 3rd charging.
Suicide if he misses the pitch, that is.
That's a face shot if he doesn't bunt that ball. Nice work by Hernan Perez to make it 4-2 Milwaukee. Perez went down to his backside. And the out was executed. He's credited with a sacrifice on the squeeze and an RBI and a 4-2 Milwaukee lead. Nicely done. Garza strikes out, putting an end to the inning. But the Brewers get a run on the board. Through 4, lead 4-2. brought to you by Cincinnati Children's, changing the outcome together. And by your local Ford dealer. Ford, go further. Well, you can join the Reds in celebrating the nation's armed forces on Military Appreciation Days that are presented by DAV, Disabled American Veterans, and Hankook Tire. All active duty, reserve, veteran, and retired service members and families can take advantage of special ticket offers on August the 25th. If you'd like tickets, visit reds.com/military. One thing about that August 25th game, that is a Friday night against Pittsburgh. It's a 7:10 start. Part of the upcoming 9-game homestand that'll begin on Tuesday the 22nd after an off day on Monday the 21st. Top of the Reds order to start the 5th, down by a pair. Hamilton, Winker, Votto here in the 5th inning. He's been on twice. He had a single that started the game. He walked in the 3rd. He's walked 3 times in this series. The left of VR and out number 1. Time for a game break. Let's head back to the studio. Here's Jeff Pecoro. Thank you, Jeff. Colorado lost yesterday. Arizona won. So those two teams dead even now for the wild card spots in the National League playoffs. Both entered today at 65 and 51. Arizona led that for the longest time, and lately they've been going back and forth. Out at first base. There's the wild card look. Arizona, Colorado, the Cardinals, they're saying, heck with a wild card. We want to win this division. They've won 8 in a row going into their game this afternoon against Atlanta. Cardinals 4.5 back in the wild card race. This Milwaukee team 6.5 back. Both gained on the Cubs yesterday in the Central. Cardinals 18 and 11 since the break. They're 1 percentage point, 1/100th percentage point behind the Cubs. Milwaukee now 2 games back. Take a look at this Central Division. The team that has led the way for the longest time is this Milwaukee club. Talked about this in this series. There the Brewers were 11 games over, 5.5 up on July the 15th, and here they are today, having won only 8 games while dropping 18 since that time. Great Council's ball club, like the Reds, we've done a lot of trading off, a lot of building from the ground up again. Didn't expect to be where they are right now. Craig Counsell said prior to the game yesterday, I don't go for any of that. If you would have told me I'd be 2 games out in the middle of August, would I take it? Yes, I'd take it. But he said, we've been 11 games over. We've played better. So I'm not settling for the fact we're 2 games out.
Like the greedy little puppy.
Can you blame him?
No. Because you know, once you get into this position, you start feeling pressure that you didn't have before. If you weren't expected to do anything out of spring training and you don't do anything, the pressure's not there. If you weren't expected to do anything out of spring training and all of a sudden circumstances present themselves so you're right on the edge, now you've got pressure. Now you've got guys who you need to motivate, keep on the field healthy. And the pressure comes mainly from the ownership, who wants to see this franchise go back into postseason play.
Let's face it, they don't think they have a chance. They don't go out and get Neil Walker like they did yesterday. Votto draws the walk. Garza thought they had him struck out. Votto on with 2 men down. He's been on twice in this game, so his stretch continues. He's now reached base at least 2 times in 18 straight games. Closing in on the mark of Barry Bonds. Milwaukee has not been to the playoffs since 2011 when they were National League Central Division winners. Won a first-round series against Arizona, then lost in the championship series to the Cardinals. That's their last go-round in the postseason. Four walks a day for Garza. Duvall can do here what he did his last time. This game is even. The Brewers shift big time on Duvall. 3 infielders left side. Outfield shifted for him to pull. You can see the center fielder out there. Perez way around. Santana way off the line and right, and yet his home run went directly down the right field line and into the corner. Cracks this one to left. Braun is there, and he makes the play. Well, you can't blame Duvall there. He caught that one cleanly right at the left fielder. Celebrating College Weekend at the ballpark. Show your school pride by purchasing the College Weekend ticket package that includes an exclusive Reds cap branded with your school colors and logo. Plus, a portion of each ticket sold will benefit a scholarship fund of the school's choice. For a list of participating schools and to purchase, visit reds.com/college. I remember from last year they had some awfully good-looking caps that went along with that College Weekend ticket package. Seen some of the pictures of the new ones this year. They're awfully good looking again. Take advantage of it. You can promote the Reds and your school wearing that hat around. Fifth inning of work for Sal Romano. Giving up 4 runs, 6 hits. He's walked 1. He's fanned 4. Well, you can't throw out the first inning, but since then, he's allowed just the 1 run on the squeeze.
He just looks a little bit more under control. I think what you're looking for with Sal Romano, and the same thing went for every one of the young pitchers the Reds brought up from the minor leagues this year. Whether they made the roster out of spring training or were brought up sometime during the season, you're looking for a little baby steps forward each time out. You know, how do you look on the mound? Is your mound presence getting any better? Is your command of your fastball getting better?
Rode in on VR, and he shoots it the other way into left field for what's going to result in a 2-base hit.
You know, the thing about that, though, is that the major leagues are a results-oriented business, and that's the way you judge things. But when you're giving kind of a pass to young pitchers coming up here, you're not necessarily judging only by the results. You're trying to look at something on the inside right there. That's just a good bit of hitting by VR to get it going.
So VR has his 5th hit in 12 at-bats in this series. Brian Price pointing out you want to challenge
the slide in there.
I'm going to see here what they're going to look at. That's Larry Vanover, the crew chief. Let's look at this.
Does he pop up a little bit? And when he does, his left foot comes off. Is his right foot on when Scooter Gennett tags him? Well, this is what you get when you start implementing the review play on the pop-up slides and exactly if and when a player loses contact with the bag when you have a tag on him. I don't think that the original intent of the rule was to, you know, have this guy out because he came off the bag on a double. It's not the kind of play that you can, you know, review at any other level in baseball except here at the major leagues, and it kind of goes against the whole idea. But once you open the can of worms, there it is.
You know, it's funny because Brian Price has been adamant in his feeling that he dislikes the fact that you can challenge this kind of a play, and yet when it's available to you, you're certainly going to use it. He did pop up and come off the base, but it doesn't appear as if Scooter had the tag on at that exact moment.
I'll tell you that we've had a lot of reviews here in this series. In the 3 games here in Milwaukee, I don't know whether we've been in a series before where we've seen so many reviews. I'm hoping they have a unlimited call plan here at Milwaukee.
They keep showing it on the big screen. We've shown it a number of times for you to take a look at. And he's going to be safe. So the call will stand. Safe at second base. And a double for VR. Hit number 7 for Milwaukee. Their 5th extra base hit. Ames is 0 for 2 in this game. And that one caught him on the arm. Caught him on the big elbow guard, it looked like. He didn't have to bother to get out of the way on those pitches, simply because he is protected with that body armor. Let's see if he flinches at all when this thing comes in. They've gotten him in the rib area. Either way, he's aboard. It's 2 on with nobody out. Max Jenkins The pitching coach of the Reds, looking over his list of available relievers. Tim Adelman was on the mound when the game ended last night. Just starting now to throw. Worked 2/3 of an inning last night. Braun has himself a pair of doubles. Last night when he had just the one hit, a home run, it ended a streak of 6 straight games that he had multi-hits in. Had the multi-hit game today. Now it's 7 of his last 8 games, or 7 of the 8 games in his hitting streak. He's had at least 2 hits. 2-0, and Tucker will go to the mound.
Tucker's got to remind Romano, like right here, all right, this isn't about seeing if you can rear back and throw the ball by Ryan Braun. Let's make a good pitch right here. Let's give him something maybe he's not ready for or can't handle, and he rolls over the top of it, and you get a double play ball. It's at times like this that Ray Miller, the old pitching coach and manager of the Orioles, used to say, select your best pitch, take a little bit off, and throw it for a strike.
Sounds like good advice. Strike, 2-1. Romano's number percentage-wise in terms of ground balls coming into this game, 48%. He pitches to the ground ball. Two and two. In this game, he has 5 ground outs. 48%. You consider that pretty high, don't you?
Well, the 50% mark is really what most people do to break the fly ball pitchers and separate them from the ground ball pitchers. If you're over 50%, you're a ground ball pitcher.
Got him. Nice comeback by Romano on Braun. Fell behind 2-0. Maybe that's the pitch he wasn't expecting, and he chased.
This is the pitch that gets the scouts to really salivate a little bit. Look at the dot you saw on that ball. Stays right on top of it, drives it down. You want a breaking ball that goes down, not just one that just slides across the plate. And that's a dandy right there for Romano.
So he's a third of the way through this problem inning. Double by VR, hit batsman of Thames. Braun strikes out. Now Neil Walker. First game as a Brewer, he's 2 for 2. Brewers make 2 moves today. Activating Walker, actually 3. I mentioned they sent Brent Suter to the disabled list. Left rotator cuff strain. Right into pitcher Michael Blazek was designated for assignment. They get Walker here, adding to this ball club. Made his big league debut back in 09 with the Pirates. Had some solid years with the Pirates. Last of which, 2015, he hit 16 home runs. Hit 23 home runs for the Mets last year in his first year with them at 282. Double play ball. Oh, he bobbled it momentarily. They end up getting it out at first, and they may not have gotten to anyway. Jeanette was on the outfield grass, and it looked like he had trouble getting the ball out of the glove. End result is just an out at first on Walker.
It probably would have been a tough double play ball because Jeanette fields that ball and he's kind of heading into right field at the time he fields it.
So the runners move up. It's now VR at third. Thames doing some landscaping work out near second. Here's Domingo Santana. He has struck out. He's popped up. He's 0 for 2.
You know, I would think that even with a base open, Santana's the guy that Romano wants to go after right here. Handled him a couple of times already. Strike out a weak pop up to the second baseman. Manny Pena, who's swinging a better bat, is in the on deck circle.
That ball scorched out to right center field and over the wall.
Santana's got big power to right center field. It's exactly where he goes to. It gets a pitch pretty much right in his hot zone.
th home run for Santana this year, 4th since the All-Star break. His first this month.
Well, they're giving out hair washes with every home run.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of that down there. They do a lot of throwing of water in the face in celebration in that Brewers dugout. Seven of them now. 7 home runs by the Brewers in this series. And now lead it 7-2 in the 5th. 33 now on the year against the Reds by Milwaukee. Most in team history against a single opponent. After today, these teams will still have 6 games remaining. Brewers come into Cincinnati one time, and the Reds come back here. Final road trip of the year. In case you're wondering, the record all time against the Reds, 42 home runs in a season by last year's world champion Cubs. Appeal and a strikeout. We're through 5 here in Milwaukee. Hall of Fame with the Canton Repository Grand Parade today, immediately following Reds Live right here on Fox Sports Ohio and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. NFL football exhibition season is underway. We mentioned the Bengals won on Friday. Regular season just under a month away now. College football getting ready to crank up. Your South Florida Bulls under a new head coach this year. Scooter Gennett leads it off here in the 6th. Reds have been out hit 8-3, outscored 7-2. Mentioned last night when the Brewers scored 10 runs in the game on Friday night. It ended a streak of 14 straight games in which they had scored 4 or less runs. Now they've scored more than that in 3 straight. 10, 6, now 7. They were in danger yesterday of falling under 500 for the first time since early May. They won the game to go back a game over. Now they have a 5-run lead in the 6th, trying to go 2 games over. Cardinals' 8-game winning streak is in jeopardy this afternoon at home. They are trailing 4-0 to Atlanta in the 6th inning. Former Red Brandon Phillips has hit his 10th home run of the year in that game.
That's a knuckleballer R.A. Dickey on the mound for the Braves today.
Cubs, the Reds' opponent, beginning tomorrow night at Wrigley. They start at 4:10 Eastern time, about 5 minutes from now, out in Arizona. Jake Arrieta will work in that game against Zach Godley. Pittsburgh, they're playing interleague baseball north of the border in Toronto and trailing 7-1 in the 8th inning against the Blue Jays. Toronto scored 5 runs in the first inning in that game against Chad Kuhl. Will the Reds be playing a first-place Cubs team tomorrow, a team that is in a virtual tie for first place, or a second-place team? It depends on that Cardinal game and the Cubs battle later on in Arizona. That draws the walk. He's on to start the 6th inning.
That may get some activity in the Brewer bullpen. I mean, if for no other reason, is that the disgust with Matt Garza having been given a 5-run lead, and you go out and walk the first batter of the inning.
Well, marks a season high 5 walks, and indeed there is action in the bullpen for his Brewers club. Oliver Drake, a right-hander, up and throwing. We've not yet seen him in this series. Check swing. It's going to stay fair. Thames thought about second. Steps on the bag, so Gennett moves up. A little check swing, 3 unassisted roller. So now an RBI chance falls in the lap of Jose Peraza. How about that right there? Is Jeanette talking with VR? Certainly VR's play a year ago. Why Jeanette is no longer with Milwaukee. They thought they had their guy. How quickly things can change as they go out and get Neil Walker.
And now if Travis Shaw is able to come back from a couple of bruises that he has on his right leg based on what he did to himself last night, you wonder if VR may be the odd man out in that group. We showed you the adjustment that Peraza has made with his front foot to keep his front hip aligned. They want that hip to kind of go towards the baseball. We'll see if he's able to do it here in this at bat.
They'll serve into right. That's going to fall in front of Santana for a hit. It's not going to be able to get Jeanette home. Does get Peraza a base hit. Number 4 for the Reds in this game, and they have them at the corners with 1 out.
Now, not really driven to right field, but you put the bat on the ball, and I think it's a little improvement. Little by little is what you're looking for. Certainly stays back. It's kind of a reverse step. The first player that I remember doing that was inducted into the Hall of Fame this year, Jeff Bagwell.
Actually stepped towards the
starts with a really wide stance, and then instead of stepping towards the pitcher, he actually stepped back towards the catcher. This is what I mean. He'll start here and end up right here.
I mean, the traditional way is obviously is to stride forward. He strided backwards. Some guys, they just don't stride at all. They just kind of pick up the foot.
You know, and you're looking for something comfortable, something that you feel like you don't have to think about when you're at the plate, because it's hard enough trying to make contact with the baseball. Jeremy Jeffress also up in the Brewer bullpen. And Zach Cozart moves into the on-deck circle for the pitcher spot.
There's Jeffress. There's Drake. Barnhart a base hit back in the 3rd. They hit that thing well, but out in front of it.
Second time he's just missed an extra base hit foul down the right field line.
90 pitches now for Garza in this game. His spot, if he's able to hang in there, is due up 3rd in the bottom of the 6th. Based on his history this year, he would not pitch past this inning. Adelman had been up and throwing in the Reds bullpen earlier. Reds most assuredly would have a new man on the mound come the bottom of the 6th. Two and two. Tucker battling up here against Matt Garza. Came into this game 1 for 10 with that one hit being a home run against this big right-hander. Today a base hit to right, a strikeout back in the 4th. Bounces away. Here comes the runner. Safe. Down to second base goes Peraza. Now he'll move up to third. As a throw from Pena to Garza tipped his glove and rolled away. Make it a 7-3 game. And we're more likely to not be an error involved in that as well.
Well, really no chance at all. Pena, desperate toss there to Garza. And by the time that Garza is able to get that ball after it gets away from him, the runner goes to third base. So that really helps out the Reds.
So a wild pitch and an error. Barnhart bats with Peraza at third and one man out. And Cozart on deck. And a base hit and a run batted in for Tucker. So he comes through with his second hit of this game. And it is 7-4. Nicely done by Tucker Barnhart, getting his RBI total to 29. Here comes Craig Counsell, and Matt Garza has thrown his last pitch of this game. Well, the Brewers will make a pitching change. He signaled has Craig Counsell to the bullpen. He's had a couple of pitchers throwing out there. Drake was one. Jeffers was another. It's going to be Jeremy Jeffress who is called upon to enter the game here in the top of the 6th. Our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen.
Presented by authority of the Cincinnati Reds. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
All right, the Reds back in this game now, down by 3 at 7-4, thanks to a wild pitch that allowed Jeanette to score. Base hit by Barnhart. They brought home Peraza. 7-2 turns into 7-4. Starter run out of the game. Matt Garza, 5 1/3. New man in is Jeremy Jeffress.
Well, Jeffress came in the ball game the other night, had a pretty good run of it. That was the game that was started by Homer Bailey. Actually, Jimmy Nelson on the part of the Brewers And he came in the 4th inning and had a really good run during his 2 innings plus.
He gets the pinch hitter Cozart, who lines the first one he sees, unfortunately right at Neil Walker at third. Tough break right there. 2 out. Garza 5 1/3, 5 hits, 4 runs thus far. Walked 5, struck out a couple, and is in line right now to be the winning pitcher. Billy Hamilton up there with a runner on. 2 out, 2 in. Hamilton faced Jeffers the other night, flied out against him to left. Reacquired in the final day of July was Jeffers from the Texas Rangers. His 5th appearance with this Milwaukee club since coming back over here. Billy in this game 1 for 2 with a walk. Jeffers was a former first-round pick by the Brewers back in 2006. At Halifax County High School in South Boston, Virginia. Slow roller. VR to Sogard to retire the side. So Jeffers does his job. Middle of the 6th inning, Reds down 3.
August 26th, first 20,000 fans get a Homer Bailey bobblehead featured in a camo jersey thanks to Coca-Cola. Post-game concert also featuring the Avett brothers. Catch all the action for as low as $12 for ticket. Visit Reds.com. You know, baseball is a very frustrating game. When someone makes an out or a tough play, they'll go down the steps and let out their frustrations, breaking bats, etc. Well, here at Miller Park, they've got something to try to alleviate that. The restroom just off of the Reds dugout features this, a punching bag hanging right there by the toilet, where you can go in there and let out some frustration and perhaps not break anything with a bat, destroy any drywall, etc. Very unique item, an addition to Miller Park.
You know, I'm watching that, I see that, Jim, and I'm wondering regarding you, when you have, and you don't have them very often at all, but if you have a bad segment or a bad hit, you go on in there and you punch that thing around a little bit?
I'm not privy to the players' restroom. However, I do think we should put something in the back of the booth. because there are certain announcers that do get frustrated.
I'll pass that along to him when I see him. All right, new pitcher on for the Reds, Tim Adelman. See him for the second consecutive game. He came on to work the 9th inning. Actually, he came on to work the 10th inning last night. Gave up the double to Sogard. Back-to-back walks loaded him up, and then the wild pitch with Braun at the plate produced the game winner and hung a loss on Tim Adelman, who's now 5-10 on the year. Threw 23 pitches last night, and he's back in there today. Sogard had a triple his last time. Billy Hamilton handles his fly ball here to start the bottom of the 6th. A couple of final lines for you for the starters in this game. On the Red side of things, Sal Romano, and this is 8th start, goes 5. Allows 8 hits, 7 runs, 6 of which were earned. He walked 1, fanned 6. Hit a batter, gave up a home run ball. Cannot win, can only be the loser. Matt Garza of the Brewers, 5 1/3. To his left, Suarez smothers it and then fires the first in time to retire Perez. So Garza 5 1/3, 5 hits, 4 runs, 3 earned. Walked 5, fanned 2. Gave up the home run ball to Duvall. Hit a batter, threw a wild pitch. Can win, cannot lose. Now Orlando Arcia will bat for Jeremy Jeffress, who goes just 2/3 of an inning, getting through the 6th inning for the Brewers. Arcia, the everyday shortstop. Last night was 2 for 5. And in the series, 3 out of 10. Arcia overall 285, having a very fine year. 11 home runs, 39 runs batted in. This guy can get fooled on some pitches, can't he?
Well, I mean, look at the size of the swing. He gets every bit of his body into every swing. I think it's almost like he's got, I don't know, a complex about not being a home run hitter. And he does everything that a guy wants to do. You know, that's a softball setup right there. Unfortunately, the opposing pitchers in the big leagues are throwing 90.
They got him on strikes in a nice 1, 2, 3, 6th inning as Adelman punctuates it with that strikeout of Arcia. Montgomery, Manny Pena. This is him in the first inning. A double down the right field line. A ball that got away from the right fielder Winker. Plated a run. Part of a 3-run first inning. Adam Duvall. This is him in the fourth inning, going opposite field into the right field corner with his 27th home run to make it a 3-2 game. How about Santana? Domingo Santana. 3-run blast to right center field. Made it 7-2. And then Tucker Barnhart, part of a 2-run 6th inning for the Reds. Solid RBI single into center. 7-4 game right now in favor of Milwaukee. That's our Honda game summary. New pitcher on for Milwaukee. Right-hander Jacob Barnes takes over for Jeremy Jeffress. Orlando Arcia, who had pinch hit, stays in the game, and he's now at shortstop. Here's Jacob Barnes with a 4.21 ERA. Winker, first pitch swinging, and he hits it hard up the middle and a base hit. Jesse's on for the first time in this game. Reds get hit number 6. Votto today 0 for 1 with a pair of walks. Right to VR. There's 1. There's 2. Votto figures to have 1 more at bat. Pending a big inning. Try to keep his hitting streak going. 2 double plays now by Milwaukee. Here's Duvall now with 2 out. And a big blow back in the 4th. A 2-run homer, his 27th. Said Barnes had not appeared in this series. That's wrong. He appeared on Friday night, worked 1 inning. He's a young man Chris was talking about out of Florida Gulf Coast University down in Fort Myers. Been busy this year. 56th appearance of the year. Benefited from the Votto 4-6-3 double play, looking to have a 3-batter 7th. Walker guarding the line, makes the play and throws Duvall out. Thanks to the double play, 3 batters and out go the Reds here in the 7th. And on this Sunday afternoon, we'll stay right here. Stretch time in Milwaukee. We'll get the playing of God Bless America.
From the Brewers Guest Services.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
With Jimmy Hanlon with highlights from the PGA Championship plus tips to lower your scores. The Golf Zone presented by Varmint Guard. He's off tonight at 8 on Fox Sports Ohio and streaming on Fox Sports Go. Beautiful Miller Park here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Roof has been open all weekend. Weather's been fall-like, very comfortable. The Brewers looking to take 2 or 3 from the Reds. Big crowd today, as you can tell, over 43,000. 43,248. Robert Stevenson becomes the 3rd Reds pitcher of the afternoon, just activated from the disabled list today. He gets Jonathan Villar to lead it off. Trying to make a double switch. Duvall has left the game. Out in left field now is Patrick Kivlahan. Kivlahan is in the 9 spot. Ripped to first. Nicely played by Votto. Stevenson covering, and they get the 3-1 putout.
Well, that is one heck of a play by Joey Votto. I'm not sure if he found the ball or the ball found him. A rocket shot that just exploded once it hit the dirt. He's up there to pick it up and get a 3-1 put out or assist. Votto gets the assist. Yeah, that's the kind of play that can change the entire inning for a young pitcher like Robert Stevenson. You know, Stevenson, we've seen, has had in the past some control problems, not nearly as bad now as they were earlier in the year. But I mean, if that ball goes off the glove of Otto and trickles down the right field line for a double, you know, sometimes young pitchers who've had some rough times will say, oh, here I go again. Now what's going to happen bad for me? Instead, he gets it out and a chance to have an easy inning.
Mentioned he's coming off the disabled list, Robert Stevenson, this 24-year-old out of California. Pitched in that game against the Pirates in Pittsburgh on August the 2nd. Dove for a ball out between the mound and the home plate area. Bruised his shoulder a little bit. 4 days later went on the DL. Activated today. He last pitched on August the 2nd. His first 13 appearances of this season at the big league level were out of the bullpen, but it's the first time he's worked in relief for the Reds since the end of May. Made 3 starts beginning on July the 22nd. 0-2. None of them starts that ended in a quality start. His last time out was the best when he allowed 1 run in 5 2/3 in that win at Pittsburgh. Here he walks Thames with 1 out. And yeah, walks have been an issue for him this year. 27 walks in 40 innings, including that 7-walk performance at Miami on July the 27th. He walked 6 out of the bullpen at St. Louis on April the 8th, his season's debut. Trying to find out about guys like Stevenson and Romano. Probably more later this month and into September. Are they ready to pitch in the big leagues? Are they ready to be in the rotation, possibly work out of the bullpen? Or are they not?
Yeah, those are 2 questions right there. Number one, are you ready for the big leagues? Number one, are you a bullpenner or are you a starter? Number 2, and then number 3, and probably the most important question of all, are you ready to pitch on a contending team? I mean, it's one thing being a, you know, the 11th or 12th pitcher on a team that, you know, loses 90 games, but what you're looking for, if you're building a champion, if you're building a team that wants to contend, you're trying to find those pitchers that you want to pitch in games in which you're winning, not games in which you're losing. And that's probably the toughest question to answer of all.
As the manager of this club, Brian Price certainly at the forefront of trying to decide what's going on with these guys. Mac Jenkins is the pitching coach. Dick Williams, the general manager, and his baseball front office people trying to make decisions on these guys. Who will be here and what will this team look like going forward? Not only the rest of this year, this is the 118th game of the year. 44 remain after today. Who will go forward with this ball club and what will they look like when they convene in February of 2018 out in Goodyear? Brewers have an off day tomorrow. Then they'll have the Pirates in town for a pair. And then another off day. Off Monday. They play Tuesday and Wednesday against the Pirates. Off Thursday before they head out west in that big West Coast trip we talked about on Friday night. They'll play the Rockies in Denver for 3. Go to San Francisco and play that very disappointing Giants team this year for 3. Then enjoy an off day on the 24th. And then that road trip will continue when they go to the Dodgers and play the Dodgers for 3. So they have a tough trip. Then they come home and have the Cardinals and Washington. So their schedule is chock full of contending teams in the next couple of weeks. That St. Louis game is now in the 9th inning in St. Louis, with the Braves leading 5-2. How about Paul DeYoung? He hits the game-winning home run last night for St. Louis. Hits another one today. The rookie has 18 home runs in. Well, he didn't start in the big leagues really until late May, early June.
Yeah, he's completely rejuvenated that Cardinal ball club.
Cubs have taken an early 2-0 lead at Arizona against Zach Godley. Jake Arrieta in search of his 12th win today. Shallow center, Hamilton. 2-out. Here comes Neil Walker. Walker today, a pair of hits, 2 for 3. Second time he's played for a team within the National League Central. Longtime Pirate. We're talking earlier about the fact that the Mets getting rid of a lot of their players. They've jettisoned their most recent player here, Walker. They got rid of Bruce. They got rid of Addison Reed. Their general manager said, I think it was yesterday, when asked about, are you finished? He said, we have inventory left. Walker got under it, pops it up. Jeanette calling. Jeanette handling. Walker retired, putting an end to the bottom of the 7th. Thank you, fellas. Maybe we'll give you something different to talk about. Maybe the Reds will battle back here in the 8th and 9th. Down by only 3 at 7-4. Jeanette leads it off against Jacob Barnes, who had a 3-batter 7th thanks to that double play ball hit into by Votto. Scooter today 0 for 2 and been on via a walk. Reds last scored when they played at 2 in the 6th inning. Wild pitch by Garza allowed Jeanette to score. Ball was thrown away by the catcher Pena to Garza covering the plate. That allowed Peraza to go to third, and Barnhart delivered him with a single. Nothing in the 7th, and now a crack at it here in the 8th. Suarez on deck, then Perez. Ball came out of the crowd in center field. Hernan Perez gets it, flings it back up there. No doubt got onto the field by the momentum of the wave which is being done here at Miller Park. Takes a couple of borderline pitches. Both go his way from Barnes, and now a full count. Well, the wave never gets old, does it, Chris?
Never.
Never. Now that one he thought he had walked on, and this time he was rung up by David Rackley. Jeanette shakes his head. You can see his reaction. Here's Suarez with 1 out. Hit pretty well in the left center field. On the run, Braun cannot get it. Short hops the wall. They'll get it back in as Suarez jogs into second base. He's got himself a 2-base hit, number 20 on the year.
Boy, the ball really jumped off the bat of Suarez. Gets his 20th in the left center field gap. It looked like that Braun was going to get there in time. But he just stays right down on it, does Suarez. Now that ball just simply over his head. This becomes a time of day when that left field becomes a very tough spot to play. Sun starts peering in through the big panel of glass down the right field bleachers.
Here's what this place looks like. That's looking in really from center field. Brewers now have action in the bullpen. Jared Hughes is throwing. That double, by the way, by Suarez now gives him a 5-game hitting streak, notable because his longest of the year is 7. Peraza, a base hit to right his last time. Barnhart next, and then Kivlahan is in the 9 spot in the batting order, having taken over in left field when Stevenson came into the game. Peraza still only 23, out of Venezuela. Made his big league debut as a Dodger 2 years ago. Came into the Reds organization as part of that Todd Frazier trade. Sent him to the White Sox. Full count. Peraza fooled on that. He becomes a strikeout victim for Jacob Barnes.
Barnes has got good stuff, so he's got plenty of arm speed for that breaking ball.
Here's Barnhart. He has a pair of singles in this game. Bumped his average up 5 points to 271. Tucker had 257 last year, and everybody was pretty happy with what he did. A career 260 hitter in the minor leagues. Not much power at all. He's actually shown more power in the big leagues than he ever did in the minor leagues. His 7 home runs last year, a career best. He's hit 5 this year, including 1 here on Friday night. Reds will be back up here. Another series against Milwaukee right at the tail end of the season. Their final 6 games of the 2017 campaign are on the road. 3 here at Milwaukee, then 3 at Chicago. The Reds will be back here Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. 3 night games, 26th, 27th, and 28th of September. Then on to Chicago for 3 to close things out. stand corrected on that. That game on the 28th is now a day game. Thursday the 28th, listed originally as a night game. Strikes, so 3 strikeouts in the inning for Jacob Barnes. Reds action 30 minutes before every game here on Fox Sports Ohio. That's with Reds Live pregame presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. We'll have more Reds baseball action for you beginning tomorrow in Chicago against the Cubs. 3 night games and a day game tomorrow. Jose Quintana, his first ever start against the Reds, the former White Sox pitcher who was acquired recently by Chicago. He'll go against Asher Wojciechowski. 7:30 with Reds Live. Same goes for Tuesday, same goes for Wednesday, and then the wrap up on Thursday is an afternoon game at 2:20 start. That means 1:30 with Reds Live. So Wojciechowski against Quintana tomorrow. Luis Castillo and Kyle Hendricks on Tuesday. Homer Bailey, John Lackey on Wednesday, and in the afternoon game, Scott Feldman against John Lester. Castillo will get his first taste of Wrigley Field.
Well, you can look at it that way, or you can look at it like the Cubs will get their first taste of Luis Castillo.
Either way is appropriate.
Always look forward to his starts.
Yeah, agreed. Well, 3 pitches and out goes Santana, who had a big blow back in the 5th inning. Right now, the difference in this game. Strikes out here.
Well, that's a pretty good looking breaking pitch right there. Stevenson really stays on top of it.
Here's Manny Pena. Pitcher spot is next, and Keon Broxton, their everyday center fielder, is on deck. This is a save scenario. It's a 3-run game right now. So you would expect, and if you're expecting Corey Knebel to be up and in the bullpen, You would be correct. There's Knebel. Pitched in the game here last night, won it with 2 innings of shutout baseball. It's the 9th and the 10th. Ready to go again today. That came right in on Pena, and he is hit with that pitch. You can hear him. Before that ball hit him, he knew he was right in the way of that thing. Hit by a pitch, Manny Pena.
Like it got him on the forearm of the right arm, his throwing hand. Looks like he wears a neoprene sleeve on that arm anyway. That doesn't do much to offset the feel of a 90+ mile-an-hour fastball hit flush.
The trainer out there, the manager, Craig Counsell out there attending to their catcher, Pena. And he'll get to his feet, get a nice hand from this 43,000+ crowd here at Miller Park. Appreciate the good work that Pena has given them this year. Walks down toward first base. He's on with 1 out. Keon Broxton will bat for Jacob Barnes, who turned in 2 good innings worth of work. Broxton hitting .221, 16 home runs. He has 139 strikeouts on the year. We've talked about that in both games of this series. That has him right now 2 behind Will Myers of the Padres for the most in the National League. Broxton was 0 for 2 on Friday. Last night 1 for 4, so 1 for 6 in the series. He pinch hits for Barnes with Knebel ready to come in. Try to close the door on this thing in the top of the 9th. Safe situation right now. If they were to score again, obviously it would not be. One error on each side of the ledger in this game. The Winker error in right field. On the Redleg side, Broxton strikes out for number 140 this year. 2 out. Reminder to cheer on Joey Votto and the Reds when they take on Anthony Rizzo and the Cubs at Great American Ballpark. Don't miss this Central Division matchup. For tickets, visit Reds.com. Cubs will be the first team in after the completion of this road trip. Reds will play the Cubs Monday through Thursday of this week, then turn around and play them 22nd through the 24th at Great American Ballpark. So they'll play them 7 times in the course of 10 days. Perez quickly down 2 strikes. He had a suicide squeeze bunt back in the 4th. Played Sogard. Pitch rode up and in on him from Romano. He did a great job of not only protecting himself, but getting ball on bat, producing the run. And he strikes out. So Stevenson has a pretty good 2 innings worth of work here. We go to the 9th with the Reds down 3. Miller Lite. Let's go back to the Reds' 4th inning. Votto aboard. Adam Duvall at the plate against Garza. Shoots it down the right field line. Into the corner. Fair ball. Home run. Number 27 for Adam Duvall. Miller time. Moment of the game brought to you by Miller Lite. That came in the 4th. Reds added 2 more in the 6th. But on the short end as they bat here in the 9th. Trailing 7-4. The pitcher on is Corey Knebel.
When Corey Knebel comes into the ballgame here at Miller Park, they play the same music that the Rockies celebrate a home win with. Little Joe Walsh, Rocky Mountain Way.
Now that I recognize.
So do I. Old guy.
Knebel looking for the save here as he works in the top of the 9th inning. He's recorded this year 21 of them. He has 4 blown saves on the year. Picked up a win last night, first of the season. And he gets Kivlahan to get it started. Patrick made the start last night at a 2-run homer. Remember that blast that hit right off the foul pole, a line drive off the left field foul pole.
One of the hardest hit balls we've seen a Reds player hit all year long.
Kivlahan's job primarily has been off the bench this year, and for a young guy, he really has done a nice job in what he has been asked to do.
Not only a young guy, but a guy with very little experience as an adult playing baseball. He really played virtually only 1 year of college baseball because he played 4 years of football at Rutgers.
Just a good all-around athlete.
Yeah.
Here's what he's done the last 7 games. Batting against Knebel to start the 9th. Kivlahan now, then Hamilton, then Winker. Reds need a base runner to bring Votto up there to give him a chance to extend that hitting streak. Nasty breaking ball that dropped in for a strike, and Kivlahan turns, bat in hand, back to the dugout. Strikeouts out of the bullpen this year in the National League. Knebel right at the top by a good margin over a very talented Brad Hand. And how about Kenley Jansen up there as well? Iglesias on that list. Knebel's last save came down at Tampa Bay on the 4th of August. Now he gets Hamilton.
Knebel was originally drafted by the Detroit Tigers first round. In fact, the Tigers had 2 first-round picks that year, and they picked Knebel right after the Reds selected Michael Lorenzen. Both hard-throwing right-handers coming out of college.
Well, he had an at-bat against Knebel last night, flied out. 6'4", 220, and only 25 years old. In the air and playable in foul ground. Neil Walker. 2 out. Winker had a base hit his last time. One for 4 on the day for Jesse. And he's quickly down 2 strikes. Winker had a 9th inning at bat against Knebel last night. Struck out on 3 pitches. Hopes not to do the same thing here today. He shoots it out in the left, and that's a base hit. Down 0-2. Winker got a fastball that was elevated somewhat, and he smoked it into left. So a 2-hit game for the rookie outfielder.
Yeah, nice little swing there by Winker. The start of his day off going 0 for 3 with a double play ball mixed in. So now he gives Joey Votto another shot at the plate.
Wouldn't this be something now? Winker gets down 0-2 on the verge of striking out. Gives Votto a chance to extend the streak, and he does it here. Remember, he did it in the 10th inning last night with a base hit.
Well, Votto can reach here. The Reds will bring the tying run to the plate.
Evan Mesoraco on deck to bat for Stevenson. 1-1. 17-game hitting streak on the line for Votto, equaling his career best. But the hit he had in the 10th inning last night, in fact, came against Knebel. Big crowd here of over 43,000 thought that was a strike. They didn't get the call.
43,000 umpires, they all got it wrong.
Winker takes off. Votto high, fly ball left field, near the wall. Braun got it. That's how close Votto comes. But the Brewers win the game. Take the series 2-1, push their record back to 2 games above the 500 mark. Neil Walker, his first game as a Brewer, is a victorious one. the Brewers win it 7-4.